15, 1, and 23. Be sure to join us Saturday for Powerball. That jackpot has grown to an estimated $12 million. For the West Virginia Lottery, I'm Kim Lamb. Good luck, everyone.
Straight ahead on 13 News at 7. It's a tough job, but someone's got to do it. Find out how the State Board of Education is trying to protect teachers coming up.
Also ahead tonight, it's a dangerous drug making its mark on the Mountain State. Coming up, we'll show you how you can help police keep meth off the city's streets. Just ahead.
A couple of fast-moving storms that we call clippers coming through, one on Friday, one on Saturday. We'll tell you what that means here in just a moment.
Plus, the King of Pop was almost headed for jail this morning. The latest from the Michael Jackson molestation trial next on 13 News at 7.
This is WOWK, the home of 13 News. 13 News at 7 begins right now.
The month of March is once again living up to its reputation. Good evening, everyone. I'm Keith Jones.
And I'm Brooke Baldwin in for Sandra Cole. Well, we know the drill. A beautiful sunshiny day can only mean one thing these days: more winter weather.
Makes sense, right? No. Spencer Atkins shows us what's in store for our exclusive Storm Tracker 13 first forecast. Spence?
Just getting some of the first reports of snow entering portions of the viewing area, and let's show that to you right now on the live Doppler radar network. And again, you have to kind of look at the red arrow here where I have it pointed toward Athens, and just talk to my friends at Power 105 there, and they said just snowing ever so lightly in Athens now, just reaching the ground. So the leading edge of this over here toward Parkersburg and Ripley, not quite reaching the ground yet. Let's give it a few hours. That'll work its way on in from Athens, eventually toward Charleston here later tonight. So it is some snow, but there is also going to be some rain mixed into this as well. Let's now show you what we expect over the next 48 hours. In fact, the first system, again, the first of two clippers rolling through, talking about the snow overnight and a little bit of a rain-snow mix, so accumulation's not the issue as much as the temperature and a little bit of iciness first thing in the morning. Want to watch out for that on bridges and overpasses. Some snow sticking tomorrow night, and by Saturday morning, I'd say about 1 to 2 inches of snow around Charleston, Huntington, and points north. Maybe a little bit more, points south. Could be a little bit of a slick go on Saturday morning as well. That's why there's a winter storm watch out for tomorrow night through Saturday morning for eastern Kentucky, and for tonight through tomorrow afternoon for the mountain counties of West Virginia. So that kind of gets you up to speed here on the overall view. We'll break it down step by step with Predictor in just a few minutes.
Catch up with you then. Thanks very much, Spencer. Moving on to our top story tonight. When your child's teacher assigns homework, the student isn't the only one putting in extra time. Educators put in dozens of unaccounted for hours, but today the State Board of Education took steps to change all that. The board moved to limit teacher work hours to 8 hours a day, replacing the former policy which imposed no limit on the number of hours teachers could be required to work. Teachers' unions have often said no limit work days. Well, those open up the door for forced extra hours without overtime pay. But teachers at today's meeting say long hours simply come with the job.
You cannot do it in 8 hours and do a good job. I mean, you can go in there and babysit for 8 hours, but you can't do a good job teaching in just 8 hours.
Well, some teachers say they put in at least 10 extra hours every week, especially when working on special projects. Meanwhile, a part-time math teacher at West Virginia University at Parkersburg has been charged now with 2 counts of murder. Police believe 33-year-old Drew Spencer killed John Nestor III and his girlfriend Tracy Thompson last month. The couple's bodies were found in a burned apartment building on February 5th. Police say Spencer may also have set that fire. He's a neighbor and an acquaintance of the victims, but police have not said how he became a suspect in this case. Spencer's bond hearing has been now postponed until officials determine whether he qualifies for a court-appointed lawyer. A Kanawha County man is facing sexual assault charges tonight. Charles Whittington is charged with first-degree sexual assault against a minor in connection with an assault that allegedly happened on February 24th in St. Albans. Now, police say they have no reason to believe there might be more victims out there. If you have any information, you are asked to call the Sheriff's Department at 357-0169. Now on to a story that we've been following for you here on 13 News. The search for a missing woman continues along the Cole River in St. Albans. State Police helicopter flew over the area today looking for any trace of Michelle Hill. She was reported missing back in February, and police believe her body may be in that area. 42-year-old Thomas Welker was arrested and charged with Hill's murder about 2 weeks ago. State police say Welker and Hill were involved in a relationship. Today's search proved unsuccessful. About 50 people forced to leave a Wayne County building after a chemical spill. Huntington firefighters say a student dropped a container full of Tri-Regent inside of an elevator at the Robert W. Kuhn Medical Building adjacent to the VA Medical Center over in Wayne County. The student suffered minor chemical burns. Firefighters evacuated the building due to the fumes. It will remain closed until hazardous material teams can get there and clean up that mess. West Virginia State University students are kicking off spring break with a crash.
Student organizations held a mock drunk driving drill on campus today to remind students to stay safe during break. The scene came complete with 2 crashed vehicles, mock victims, even a mock drunk driver. Students were asked to sign cards pledging that they won't drink and drive during spring break.
The actual DUI reenactment is more in the face. It's going to get their attention more than handing them a piece of paper with statistics.
I guess they're trying to say don't drink and drive. I guess that's the main message because I got the point.
Spring break for West Virginia State University students begins March 19th. Well, the Kanawha County Sheriff's Department says the county is quickly becoming the meth capital of all of West Virginia. 13 News' Nicole Ward shows us how deputies are trying to educate the public on the dangers of the drug. But first, we want to warn you some of the pictures you're about to see are graphic.
These pictures of a California woman were taken the first time she was arrested for making meth and the last. Pictures are just one tool police use to keep the drug off the streets.
And they snort it and filled up the needle and stuck it in their veins.
David Ross, a member of the Kanawha County Sheriff's Department for nearly 30 years, uses pictures, statistics, and real-life testimony to educate public employees about meth.
The earlier you call, the less loss of life or health risk that you encounter.
This class teaches what to look for, both around a house and in people themselves. For example, the girl in this picture had been using meth for 18 months.
I want to absorb like a sponge everything I can about meth to help me make the best decisions possible.
And judging by the gasps from the audience, she wasn't the only one learning something. For example, many people seem surprised that meth looks something like Comet. Ross says a meth lab will give off a distinctive smell, one that's been compared to cat urine, spoiled mayonnaise, or something metallic. Last year, police busted 350 meth labs in the entire state of Missouri. But if the trend continues here at home, police say Kanawha County alone will beat that number. In Charleston, Nicole Ward reporting.
And if you would like to get meth training for your own employees, you can actually call David Ross on his cell phone. We have that number. That is 304-542-2872.
And certainly, if you believe that you're living near a meth lab, call the Kanawha County Sheriff's Department. The meth hotline is 304-357-4693.
And meth is also on the agenda tonight at the Kanawha County Commission meeting. The Metro Drug Unit will present commissioners with a plaque in honor of their efforts to combat meth. The drug unit is also asking for more money to deal with the ongoing problem. The county's 2005-2006 budget is also on tonight's agenda.
Well, just a day after the announcement, many people in Huntington still can't believe Marshall head coach Bob Pruitt has retired. Pruitt announced his resignation at a press conference yesterday morning, and while the coach simply said it's just time, the rumors are already flying about the so-called real reason behind his departure. Everything from a bad season to health problems. Marshall University Board of Governors member Mike Perry tells 13 News Coach Pruitt has threatened to quit in the past just as a part of his negotiation tactics, but Perry says this time it was much different.
I'm just going to honor the man's legacy and take him at his word when he tells me it's time. It's a simple fact that he wants to do something different.
The board says the search is on for Pruitt's replacements. One of the candidates is interim coach Larry Keck, who will begin spring football with the Herd tomorrow. In other news tonight, West Virginia Congresswoman Shelley Moore Capito has secured federal funding now for a local construction project.
About $44 million going from the Federal Highway Trust Fund to be used to build the new U.S. Route 35 in Mason and Putnam counties. The money comes as part of a massive highway funding bill approved by the House just this afternoon. This is the largest amount of money earmarked for the project so far. The Senate is expected to take up the bill in April, and then it'll need the president's signature to pass.
Well, it may feel like winter out there, but signs of spring are on the ground at Charleston's new ballpark. Crews are almost finished now laying the new sod at the park. The latest of the tons of greens, the last rather of the tons of greens, were delivered from Tuckahoe Farms in New Jersey. The West Virginia Power puts the new turf to the test in their home opener, and that's coming up April 14th. One West Virginia lawmaker proved he's got the state's best interest at heart.
We will explain why coming up after the break in tonight's Health Watch 13. That is next on 13 News at 7.
13 News at 7 with Sandra Cole, Keith Jones, and Storm Tracker 13 Weather with Chief Meteorologist Spencer Adkins. 13 News, providing information about your town, your state, and your future.
Lone Star World Championship Rodeo is hot on
Superstore location.
In tonight's Health Watch 13, a big honor for one Kanawha County lawmaker.
This weekend, the American Heart Association will present Senator Dan Foster with the Legacy of Life Award in his honor of his efforts to improve health among all of West Virginians.
Well, Foster has worked to reduce tobacco use, curb childhood obesity, and improve access to health care. Photojournalist Ben Miles shows us a day in the life of Dr. Dan Foster.
My entry was not something planned. It happened fairly suddenly when people confronted me or came to me, I guess I should say, and asked me to run. It's almost 3 years ago now. And it was a difficult decision, but I made it fairly quickly, and I've not regretted it. I entered in an effort to try to help the citizens of the state. I obviously have more expertise in health areas since I've practiced medicine for so many years, and I felt that my understanding of some of those issues would be useful. But on the other hand, I want to, I like to see as much data as I can. Being in the legislature is very different. You spend your time talking to constituents and dealing with committees and trying to understand legislation and trying to advocate for your own positions and being accessible to people here and to people within your district, and it's very time-consuming, but it's very interesting as well.
Ben Miles with that report for us. West Virginia women are one step closer now to legal protection for the right to breastfeed. The House of Delegates passed the Child's Right to Nurse Act. It's a measure that will allow women to breastfeed anywhere they are otherwise allowed to be. Putnam County Delegate Patty Igoloski Shane has also the one woman who voted against the bill. The mother of two says the bill is unnecessary because breastfeeding in public isn't against the law in the first place. The bill now goes to the Senate for final approval.
All right, still to come here on 13 News at 7. We're watching some snow moving into the town, and that'll be happening here over the next couple of hours. But then what lies ahead? We'll talk about that on the other side of this break.
At Turnpike, you pay only $49 over invoice and keep the rebate.
Charter gives you more than 90 digital channels, plus all your local channels on 2 TVs for just $29.99 a month. You'll get multiple Nickelodeon channels, great sports action, and over a dozen movie channels, plus 45 channels of digital music, all for just $29.99. There's no contract to sign, no expensive equipment to buy, no weather interruptions. Call 1-888-GET-CHARTER. Programming and services may not be available in all areas. Other restrictions may apply. Price is guaranteed for 12 months.
Oh, breakfast in bed.
It's just you, me, and the cornflakes.
You'd have to eat 4 bowls of cornflakes to get the B vitamins in 1 bowl of Total.
Sweetie, how about the Raisin Bran?
You'd need 6 bowls to match the zinc in Total.
Glad we went with the queen size.
Special K.
40 bowls to match Total's calcium.
Isn't that the coffee table?
Whole grain Total's got 100% daily value of 12 vitamins and minerals. No other leading cereal comes close.
I'll have the Total.
Total Raisin Bran. 1 bowl, 100%.
Huntington has always been a special place. Its rich history and beautiful surroundings have long made it a wonderful place to reside. Because of you, our customer, First Century Bank has expanded into the Barbersville area with our newest office just off Merritt's Creek Road. Locally owned, managed, and always community-minded, your hometown bank now has 2 locations to serve you better. With free checking and online banking, our goal is to be your community bank of choice. First Century Bank, your town, your bank.
Storm Tracker 13 Weather is sponsored by Appalachian Power, a unit of AEP.
Now, the most advanced forecasting technology available. Storm Tracker 13 Weather, home of the area's only live Doppler radar.
All right, well, we're seeing some snow showers working into the neighborhood, so that's kind of interesting. We're going to show you that now on the live Doppler radar network, and as we take a peek at that, you're going to notice what appears to be an awful lot of snow, but it's not an awful lot of snow yet. Sure, there are a lot of snowflakes up there in those clouds. That tells us that there are clouds, but I'll move my red arrow here a little bit closer to somewhere where we know that there is some snow out there. And again, it's right around the Athens area. And as we look here, we can see just a little deeper shade of some of the whites and blues here compared to some of this very bright white stuff here around Charleston and down the Turnpike. So this is not reaching the ground. This is, so Meigs County, Athens County, very light snow coming down right now. Several breaks back here. It's going to take several hours before the rest of us get to see snow falling across the area. Light snow tonight, temperature is obviously going to be a little bit on the warm side at the onset of this. It's cold enough for snow up here, but not at the ground, so we'll see some melting going on. Problem is then when everything freezes up later tonight. Another morning to watch out for black ice. Yep, absolutely. And also a little bit of rain in that mix too by morning. So again, we'll have to watch out for those bridges and those overpasses and take care on those areas. Tomorrow, again, we have that snow advisory out tonight through the afternoon, and the snow advisory is for a couple of inches of snow, places like Richwood, places like, let's say, northern Nicholas County, and also up through Webster County and Summersville as well. So these areas could see a couple of inches of snow. And then there's a winter storm watch out for Friday night for eastern Kentucky. So it's kind of a two-part system here. This is for tonight and through Friday afternoon. This is for tomorrow night through Saturday morning. As we check things out on our Outlook, again, just to remind you to kind of break it down step by step, talking about a rain-snow mix tomorrow, so mainly just wet. Then the snow sticks again tomorrow night, and we could have 1 to 2 inches of snow around Charleston, Huntington on Saturday morning, maybe a little bit more than that in eastern Kentucky on Saturday morning as well. So we show you now, this is what we expect by this time tomorrow night. Just a little bit of snow from Charleston on up to about the, let's say, usually around Mossie's where we start to pick it up on the interstate as you head south. So we'll look for about 1 to 2 inches of snow around Beckley, and then maybe a little bit more than that around areas of Nicholas County and Webster County, and just a little slushy coating at best, otherwise mainly wet around I-64 between Charleston and Huntington, US 52 in southern Ohio. Then we'll look for some snow after 39 tomorrow. We'll look for 33 on Saturday, a couple of inches of snow Saturday, and then drying out, warming up a little bit as we head on in toward next week, although the end of next week could be very wet indeed. So we watch this pattern overall, and we see here comes that first little wave of snow, really seeing the snow from about south central Ohio on. Here's some rain, though, that's pushing in, and that'll kind of really nudge in here first thing in the morning, and then that area of low pressure will slide into the Great Lakes. The front will pivot on through. We'll have some rain. So the mountains up high where it's colder, we'll see some snow accumulation, we think. But the rest of us, we get a little dusting here, a little icy in the morning, and then it changes over to rain. And then after that front comes on through late tomorrow is when we'll start to see the next batch of snow coming ahead of the second front. Watch this here. This is late tomorrow night. Watch eastern Kentucky, southern West Virginia. The deep blue indicates some heavy snow first thing Saturday morning. 38 right now in Charleston, 40 in Huntington, 33 though in Parkersburg, so the temperature's coming down to about 32. We'll hover there. See that snow-rain mix here late tonight. Rain then popping into the picture tomorrow, so mainly wet, but it's that morning window that I'm worried about for the morning commute. And again, the morning window on Saturday. The rest of the time we should be able to deal with it. It's just one of those things for early morning travel to keep in the back of your mind. And we'll keep you posted with new runs of Predictor at 11 o'clock and more news on the other side of this break here on 13 News at 7.
Closed captioning on 13 News is sponsored by Myers and Purfader Attorneys at Law, 1-800-445-4061.
Don't you think it's time you made the switch?
Former President Bill Clinton is out of surgery and resting comfortably at a New York hospital.
Apparently his surgery was a success. Doctors say Clinton came through today's operation with flying colors. Surgeons removed fluid and scar tissue that had built up in his chest following his heart bypass surgery about 6 months ago. The former president is expected to be in the hospital between 3 and 10 days, they're saying. He will experience some pain for about 3 weeks and then should get back to normal.
Well, the Vatican says Pope John Paul II will be out of the hospital in time for Easter, but with Holy Week just 10 days away now, church leaders still aren't sure what role the Pope will play in this year's celebration. That decision is set to be made after the pontiff leaves the hospital.
And today, Michael Jackson came dangerously close to having his bail revoked and spending more time in jail. A judge issued an arrest warrant for the King of Pop after Jackson failed to show up for court on time. The singer finally did arrive, distressed and disheveled, and more than an hour late. Jackson's handlers say he was in the emergency room with severe back pain. Once court resumed, Jackson's accuser continued to testify that Jackson had offered him wine and told the jury that the singer coached him on how to behave while a now famous, or infamous I should say, documentary was being shot. Well, falling asleep at the wheel can be a really big deal.
One driver learns that lesson, should we say, the hard way, coming up after the break. Also, if you think our weather's a little wacky around here, check out California.
Surf's up out there. We'll show you what the latest Pacific storm is whipping up for the Golden State as 13 News at 7 goes off the satellites. But first, here's a look at tonight's prime time lineup right here on CBS.
Watch the Stock Report on 13 News at noon, sponsored by the First State Bank.
I'm Jean Hawks.
If you haven't already visited River City Subaru, now's the best time ever. For the lowest price and best selection, come in and do business the easy way. No high-pressure salespeople, just friendly atmosphere. Take a look at this new 2005 Impreza with payments of just $189 per month. And River Cities has over 100 new Subarus in stock. And we're packed with certified pre-owned cars, trucks, SUVs, and minivans. River City Subaru, right off the 29th Street exit of I-64 in Huntington.
Introducing Chex Mix for Kids. The first snack with loads of fun-shaped cheesy crackers, pretzels, and wholesome Chex pieces for kids to turn into anything. And they're baked, not fried. New Chex Mix for Kids in cheddar, triple cheese, and pizza. It's hard to imagine a better snack.
On the next 13 News this morning.
Temperatures take another dive.
And it could be snow, which means problems for school kids.
School delays, road conditions, and the latest forecast tomorrow morning.
A few moments of distracted driving adds up to one big mess.
We take you off the satellites now to the Delaware-Maryland state line. Take a look at this mess. That is where a sleepy truck driver apparently crashed into this I-95 toll plaza, closing 7 toll lanes and, of course, clogging traffic along the way. Police believe the driver actually fell asleep at the wheel just before the crash. He was treated for minor injuries and given a ticket for inattentive driving.
Whoops. All right, a powerful tornado tore through a western New Zealand town today, tearing roofs off of buildings and tossing ship containers, much like a children's toy. At least 6 people were injured, and the storm left a trail of debris about 1,300 feet wide, 2.5 miles long. Witnesses say all the damage happened within a matter of seconds.
And it wasn't the wind, but the water that's causing these problems on the California coastline. Ventura City officials had to close their public pier as monster waves rolled on shore. Great for surfers, though. The 10 to 12-foot swells are also creating very strong rip currents up and down the coastline.
All right, surf's up. Maybe lunch as well. Feeling a little crazy, are you? That's what the High Rollers of the Stratosphere Casino and Hotel in Las Vegas are hoping. Their new extreme attraction, Insanity, the ride, spins dangling passengers 64 feet out over the edge of the Stratosphere Tower's outdoor observation deck there. Now, riders experience a centrifugal force of about 3 Gs, but don't look down. You'll be gazing at the Vegas Strip, a dizzying 900 feet below. Centrifugal force rather than centrifugal force, which was...
You got that. But it wasn't such a great shot because you need to be able to see that drop.
Right, I know.
You tell the camera guy to go over there.
Did you notice nobody with their cameras was actually looking down? They were all smiling at each other like, I'm not looking down, I'm not looking down.
900 feet. Well, you don't know you're 900 feet down once you look down.
That's scary stuff. I would not ride that ever. All right. So anyhow, we're looking at some snow moving in tonight, but then rain kind of comes into the picture. It's not an accumulation deal really that we're worried about. It's just the fact that it only takes a little coating to make it slick in the morning. That's what we're looking at. 32 degrees, just a little coating makes it slick. Please drive carefully in the morning.
Could be a bit messy, and then the weekend.
Always a headache. Yeah, a couple inches of snow on the weekend. It looks like Saturday morning.
Maybe the last hurrah?
Maybe.
Maybe.
Hooray.
Stay tuned.
For the last hoorah.
We hope to see you tonight at 11 o'clock.
That means we're done. Hoorah.
Hurrah for that.
This is a production of West Virginia Media, a company owned and operated by West Virginians. Our stations are committed to improving the quality of life in your town and in your state for a better future.
Have you heard the news about a great place to play? Everybody's talking